First question for Coach Brian Christopherson, Nebraska 24/7.
Hey, Sean. Good afternoon. The media and fans have heard a lot about Travis Vokalek, and there's been a lot of excitement to see him. What's sort of your expectation for him and where he's at, and what you want to see him grow in here in the next few weeks before the opener?
Well, the biggest thing with Travis, he spent a lot of time last year down on the scout team, and then on Fridays, spending a lot of time with our guys, understanding our scheme. Um, During this COVID time, we've had a chance to spend a little bit extra time via Zoom as a tight end position, kind of getting him up to speed and what we we do technique wise and our offensive schemes of things blocking and also running routes. We're expecting him to come in and be a dominant force in the run game and then a dominant force in the passing game, just like Jack Stoll and Austin Allen performed last year.
Thank you.
Next question, the Lincoln Journal Star, Parker Gabriel.
Hey, Sean, I know that Ronald Tompkins isn't in your room, but that you had a big hand in recruiting him out of Georgia. What has it been like to see him, at least from the looks of it, be healthy and actually, get on the field and be able to play at full speed? How rewarding is that? Because it's been a long journey for him to get healthy, obviously.
He's been a pleasant surprise for us. How well he's done thus far. Obviously, Mark and the training staff has done a great job with him, and Coach Hale has done a great job of monitoring what he does on a daily basis. You know, you guys will get an opportunity to see a kid that really has worked extremely hard to get himself in this position to go help the Huskers football team win this year. And he's done an unbelievable job, understanding what he needs to do physically in that training room, and then also he's done a tremendous job of understanding what Coach Hale wants him to do offensively, and we look forward to seeing him, helping our team win on Saturdays.
Sam McEwen, Omaha World Herald.
Hey, Coach Beckton. Thanks for doing this. Jack Stoll talked a little bit about how the tight ends are getting the ball more in practice, and he referenced, maybe some of the adjustments that Coach Lubick has made with some of the routes. I was hoping maybe you could unpack that for us a little bit. How maybe has the offense shifted in a positive way toward your room and your guys getting the ball a little bit more in a variety of situations?
Well, those guys have earned, obviously, Coach Lubick and Coach Frost's trust, how well those guys have worked and performed throughout this time period. Starting with last year, the guys that were here. Obviously, when Coach Lubick, took over the offensive coordinator reins with his experience, one of the strengths of our offensive scheme were utilizing our tight ends, and has a long history of doing that, at various different other places at, Oregon and also at University of Washington. So some of the things that he's brought to the table is making sure that we have tight end targets, and where we've changed some things up, where the read goes first to the tight ends, opposed to being a situation where it was maybe the last outlet. So small things like that, and then we spent a lot of time during the COVID period where we were on Zoom watching a lot of the NFL tight ends across the league, and really getting those guys in tune to what we're trying to do schematically, and so those guys understand the nuances of what we're trying to get done, so those guys can have a great year this year.
When you think about what Matt Lubick has done the most in this offense, what do you appreciate the most about maybe some of the adjustments he's made and how that's played out in your guys' workouts and your practices?
Well, we're running a lot of the same plays, obviously, that Coach Frost had and always has envisioned, but we're getting to them in a lot of different other ways. And And one thing that, Coach Frost has been laying the groundwork of understanding our base concepts and then putting a little bit of a deviation on that base concept. And I think, with Coach Lubick here and Coach Frost, they've worked together. They know exactly what we're trying to get done on a daily basis. And our offensive staff, obviously we've been together with the addition with Lubick, Coach Lubick now, bringing another presence that hasn't been with our staff has really, really helped us and elevated us in some of the different schemes that we're running.
We'll have time for two more with Coach before he needs to get back to meetings. Kevin Suits, Channel 1011.
Coach, you said you had your players watch some NFL tape on some of the guys, tight ends in the league. Which specific players were you having them watching? What did you want them to specifically look at to try to emulate?
Well, obviously, all the top ones in the league. The one right down the street here, Kelsey, we spent a lot of time with, and George Kittle. We spent a lot of time analyzing those two guys, and then one of my former players, Jordan Akins, who's having a really good year for the Texans. We spent a lot of time with him. The biggest thing is to show those guys that what they're currently doing now in college applies to what it's going to take for them to play on the next level. And, I'm a big proponent of watching and learning from other people to get things done and to understand how to attack people, how to work defensive backs, how to work linebackers, who we working on a specific play, how to run a route versus a man coverage, how to run a route versus a two high, how to run a route versus a single high. So, those things were very, very important for those guys to understand. The same thing in the blocking scheme as far as in the running game. We spent a lot of time watching those guys strike and drive. And, one of the things that Coach Frost wants all of our offensive players to be able to strike and drive people on contact. That's one of the things that we didn't do extremely well on a consistent basis last year. And those cut-ups, watching those different things, has really, really helped those guys going forward.
Okay, finish up. We got about one more minute here. Mitch Sherman from The Athletic.
Hey, Sean. Obviously, you've got an older group, a lot of juniors and seniors in your tight end room. Curious, with the eligibility freeze this year, you potentially could have everybody back. Maybe it's hard to know right now. There's probably some more immediacy for you in determining how that's going to impact your position group. How do you go about handling that, as you look to the future and plot out recruiting?
Well, obviously, with Jack Stoll being a senior and we have the two juniors with Austin Allen, Travis Vokalak, and Kurt Rafdahl, who's playing at a high level also for us now. Where obviously we have tremendous depth at the tight end position right now. With that being said, we have those guys are being older. We have to get some young guys in the program. Obviously, in recruiting, we can't really talk about the names of guys, but our plans were to take 2 to 3 tight ends this year. Obviously, we have to get younger in that aspect of things to continue to grow the position here in Nebraska.